welcome to Intermissions, your backstage pass to On the Air with Florenza. You'll experience bloopers, outtakes, surprises, and all the laughter in between. Intermissions is unscripted, unfiltered, and undeniably Florenza. So put your hands together to welcome today's guest to the show. The most gorgeous, healthy, luscious, commercial ready fuchsia hair. My friend, your hair is fabulous.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me.
What inspired you to use your dual timeline narrative in This Violent Heart? And I know that it definitely enhances the story, but how did you approach it in terms of writing? Were you a writer that you wrote out like one side and then you interfused it with the other? Or you're like, oh yeah, we're going to be back in 2000, what was the year? 2000, okay, 12, 14. Like, okay, I'm going to stay in 2000. I'm going to put on my music. Yeah. I'm going to put on my 2000-ish clothes. Did you get ready for it?
I've talked about this in the past about I get asked this question because I've written dual timelines for every single book. My debut actually was dual timelines and dual POVs. So,
nice. Are you a Gemini?
Yeah. I'm a Sag. Yeah, I just had my birthday, 45. But yeah, I wish I could say that I sit down and I go through and I write, one timeline and then another, and then I just, kind of shuffle the cards, and then it magically happens. I write pretty organically. I do have a plan somewhat because I've learned in publishing, it helps to have a little bit of a plan. This is the first book that I wrote that was on contract, so I did not have time to mess around. I really had to, get certain points done, and it was it was a fast write. And, but still I had to go with how I feel comfortable writing. I feel like when you start forcing things, that creativity just shutters. I wish I had the luxury of just spending a year writing, just a year of writing a story.
Were there parts of the story that didn't make it that you feel will have life in another future book?
Yeah, a little bit. I kind of went a little bit more into initially Devon's experiences as a burlesque performer, because she was doing that as kind of like a side gig, and she had fallen in love with it, and then I knew that I was going to be writing a book involving the burlesque world at some point. So that's which I was actually working on. And then writer brain, sometimes a story idea comes along, another story idea comes along, and it is like, no, it just kind of bats that other story aside. So now my burlesque story is kind of on the back burner because I have this other book that I'm going to be working on, which is a total deviation from kind of the romantic suspense, romantic mystery world that I've been in. But yeah, okay.
No, wait, I want to go back to this burlesque thing. So, like, did you get you a summer job at a burlesque space so that you can get the whole experience? Or do curious minds want to know, if asking for a friend?
Yeah. Okay, so we have a thriving burlesque scene here in Oklahoma. Some people may not realize that, but we do. We have several burlesque troupes. My favorite, shout out to Terra Rouge Burlesque. And I've always loved burlesque. I've always been just fascinated by it. And then
now, do you get on stage?
I knew I was going to have to write a book about burlesque at some point, and I will. I'm still trying to find the right story. I thought I had the right story, and then I was like, this isn't exactly how I wanted it to be. So yeah, so now I've got this other book that's totally different and about another generational trauma novel, but it's involving sisters and a serial killer. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So
okay, I like the evolution of where you going with everything, Heather. I like that. So, did any of the feline antics from your 3 murderous cats inspire scenes or characters in either this Violent Heart or any of your previous books or future books? Tell us about these
Did
cats.
my cats inspire scenes? Well, there's a cat. There's definitely a cat in Hurt for Me, and named Iris. We have a little black cat named Iris who is the loudest cat in the world. So I had to throw her in there. I had to have a cat in there. The unfortunately, no cats made it into this Violent Heart. I did almost give Keaton a dog because I feel like Keaton is absolutely a dog person.
Yes.
And I think Devon would be a dog person too, although she'd probably lean more cat. But yeah.
Nice.
I almost did.
Now we have come to the part of our show that I call One for the Road. And our One for the Road is going to be you giving us a nice little read from your book, This Violent Heart. So, my friend, take it away and tell us what's going on in this scene.
So this is Summer's Journal, August 2012. I promise I didn't mean for any of this to happen. Soon, everyone is going to hate me. I don't know. Maybe you will too. I hate myself for so many things, but I don't hate myself for what I'm about to do. Remember when you gave me the book by that Neruda guy? You read that poem to me, the one about secretly loving obscure things, and you said how much you loved it. I've read it so many times and thought about how perfect and simple it is, and it scares me that I may never read it again. It's funny, when it comes to love, how much it hurts. Neruda sure knew his shit. I don't even care that you'll never read this. I just needed to get it out of my head before I do this. I've thought about things so much, and now I know some mistakes stay with you forever, deep in your belly, rotting you from the inside out. I only hope when you find out, you'll understand, and that you won't hate me. I can never hate you. I really wish I could.
Bravo! Bravo! Well, thank you so much for joining me. This has been fantastic. I'm getting to know you and your process and your book babies. And I look forward to this next slightly different murderous book that we have coming up after the let's let the heat sizzle with this Violent Heart, and then we'll get into the bed with the other thing you got going on.
It's wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And this wraps up our episode of Intermissions, your backstage pass to On the Air with Florenza. Be sure to check out the full interview for this author as well as others on Florenza's podcast, On the Air with Florenza. And until next time, cheers.